So it's that time again where, starting from tomorrow, we have our Scottish clubs in action in European football again, with Rangers against Victoria Pilsen in the second leg, away from home for them this time. And then on Thursday night we have our two home legs for Dundee United and Hibs against Rapid Vienna and Partizan Belgrade respectively. Of course, all three clubs coming away with positive results in the first leg. Rangers are 3-0 winners at Ibrox, Hibs 2-0 winners away from home, and Dundee United managing a very respectable draw against Rapid Vienna 2-2 away from home. The question remains, how many of these teams will make it to their European playoffs next midweek, and joining Celtic and Aberdeen in that regard, and how many will unfortunately not make it to that stage? Let's get to the predictions. So, starting off with tomorrow night's game with Victoria Pilsen against Rangers. First of all, I don't anticipate it to be as big of a pumping as it was at Ibrox. Pilsen were so poor in that game that I don't see how they can be that poor at home, to be honest. And it's a difficult one to predict in terms of how this particular leg will go, but I don't see a scenario where Rangers lose this game by 3 goals and it goes to extra time, or that they lose it by 4 or more goals, to be honest with you. Could they lose the tie itself? I think they could, especially around the whole toxicity of the club at the moment, with the lack of form domestically already. The fact that they are 4 points behind Celtic already in the league, 4 points behind Hearts as well. 2 points behind Livingston, 2 points behind Hibs as well. And it's not been a great start to the season for them at all, by any means. And European, though, they have managed to get the job done. So this game could result in a loss. I don't think it will. I think it'll be another case of what happened against Panathinaikos. I think they'll draw away from home and get to the Champions League playoff, which at this point in time looks like they'll be playing against Bruges. Unless Salzburg can come back in from their 1-0 deficit to Bruges, of course. And we'll cross that bridge when we come to it when they play each other. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this fixture tomorrow night. On to what is probably the most interesting of the ties this week. We have our Dundee United versus Rapid Vienna tie at Tannadice, where going into it we have a 2-2 draw on aggregate. Yes, Rapid Vienna created a whole bunch of chances against Dundee United, but the 2 goals that they actually lost, they'll be really disappointed from their point of view, I would think. Really easy goals to give up. The two United goals are real bits of quality from Sapsford, in fairness, and you would hope that despite the fact that they did lose a last-minute goal to Hearts yesterday to lose the game at home, that they won't take too much discouragement from that, and they'll more look to how they played against Rapid Vienna. And you would hope with the Tannadice crowd behind them that they will be able to get the job done against Rapid Vienna. You know, you can look to previous European results from Scottish teams. Dundee United, of course, terrible result away from home in the second leg against AZ Alkmaar, but they managed to beat AZ Alkmaar at home, who you would argue are a stronger side than Rapid Vienna. But then you've got the opposite side of the coin, where St Johnstone managed to get the result away from home to Galatasaray, similarly to Dundee United getting the result away from home for Rapid Vienna and then losing at home, unfortunately. So, I mean, my head says Rapid Vienna will get the job done, but I'm going to predict Dundee United to win 1-0 and manage to get through. And if they do manage to get through, it looks as though their opponent is going to be AIK of Sweden, which... if they can beat Rapid Vienna, you would imagine that they should be able to beat AIK, but that's not how football works. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Dundee United win. I could be very wrong on that, but that's what I'm going to go for. And on to Hibs versus Partizan Belgrade at Easter Road. Hibs, of course, coming away 2-0 winners away from home. Partizan, of course, went down to 10 men. I'm wondering if the lack of a third goal to kill the tie will mean that there's a bit of tension in the ground, especially since Hibs, of course, there was that screamer that Kilmarnock scored yesterday. If you haven't seen it, go and find it. It's potentially goal of the season already, and we're only 2 match days in. Dropping a 2-0 lead to Kilmarnock yesterday might put a bit of worry in the squad and the fans, so Hibs getting an early goal would probably settle things down. And on top of things, if you haven't seen, Partizan won 7-2 away from home yesterday as well, so that might put the fear into it. I do think though that I don't see Hibs losing this game by 3 goals at home, to be honest. And with that being the case, I don't even see them losing by 2 goals, to be honest, to take it to extra time. Personally, they could very well lose the tie, but or lose the leg, sorry. But I don't see that happening either. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Hibs win, and it looks as though, unless Legia Warsaw can turn it around, they'll be playing Legia Warsaw in the playoff, which Polish teams, for whatever reason in Europe, haven't done very well this season. So, and again, I'll say the same thing that I said when I was talking about Hibs playing Partizan in the last video. Midtjylland are the best team that Hibs are going to play in Europe leading up to the group stage, and they gave them a great game, so they need to take confidence from that, and fingers crossed they can make it to the playoff. Quickly addressing the other playoff scenarios, Celtic at the moment, that Kazakhstani team, Crate, I think it is, Kyrie, they are 1-0 up from their first leg, so if they can hold on against Slovan Bratislava, then it'll be them that Celtic are playing in the playoff. However, they only have a 1-0 lead, and it was in the 90 plus minutes, and it was their home leg. And Aberdeen, FCSB were given a big scare by their opponents, being 2-0 down, but they did manage to come back and win 3-2. Again, only a 1-goal lead, so we'll see what happens with that. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new around here, please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, like the Scottish Premiership videos, the Scottish Premiership Road to Glory on FC25, which is on the channel as well, as some other stuff too. But I'll catch you in the next one.